Developments coming in. Sources are telling us that the initial results of the forensic investigation of the blast are claiming that this was a technical and planned explosion. Sources say that nearby mobile towers are now being monitored. Even drone frequencies are being investigated for the point of detonation. So, the investigation, ladies and gentlemen, to read between the lines, is saying that this was a technically executed explosion. Now, technically executed to me means that this wasn't a guy with something strapped on his chest, that they are suspecting that this was a remote detonation that has taken place. Now, if you discuss what Brigadier Dhiman has been mentioning, it is not unlikely then that Mohammad Umar was not planning on becoming a suicide bomber. He was aware of what he was transporting. He was in this I-20 car, no coincidence where the car came from, and he was potentially transporting the car to a particular location or out of this area, and someone else pressed the button. It wasn't him who pressed the button. So, which is why the car was actually moving in traffic. There was no attempt being made to park the car. There was no attempt being made to ram the car into something, because it's not a small car. I mean, it is a four-wheeler. You could have tried to ram it into one of the lanes which has a lot of people. You could have tried to ram it into the gate of the metro station. That's what suicide bombers generally do. They try to ram the car into a high value target and then blow it up. This man was in slow moving traffic. The car was actually moving towards the red light when it blew up. So, we have it here. Let me get General Mathur back in. I think Group Captain Devnath is also with us. Group Captain, I am coming to you. General Mathur, now, I mean, we don't know exactly, but if our suspicions are indicating from the information that we have, that in fact the man sitting in the car was not the man who pressed the button, that there was a remote detonation, which means that somebody else was sitting somewhere else who pressed the button.
Bishop, I'll tell you what, at times what they do is they time it. Time it in the sense that the gentleman who has to press the button probably is not able to see where the car is actually moving, probably. And then they decide, okay, 6:58, no matter where the car is, you blow it. No matter, because they expected that at 6:58 it would have reached A place, B place, or whatever time it has happened. So there is a possibility of this kind of a remotely delivered detonation of this explosive. But the fact of the matter is, the gentleman who was inside, he was surely involved. It was not that an innocent gentleman who has been, fooled into carrying explosive from place A to place B. No. He was surely a part of it, and as it stands now, I mean, as it appears that it may have been detonated but remotely, but it is because of the timed detonation of the vehicle. Otherwise, a moving car moving and at the red light also, there are a number of vehicles which are parked. So it has the similar kind of impact. Probably they had thought that if they move any further, they may not be able to do it and they may get caught or something. It is a possibly it was designed to be somewhere else.
Okay, so let's call it general what it is.
Yeah.
Technically executed, ladies and gentlemen, is a specialist term for people who understand it. Technically executed means that this was not something that happened by chance, that this had a precision detonation device, that there were people who knew what they were doing, that created and conducted not only the explosive device, but carried out. So, that's the literally a technical term, deliberate, precise, with specific knowledge, procedures and equipment. That is the definition for technical execution. Now, technically executed, and we are speculating here whether this was a remote detonation, which is somebody else. The man has the bomb in the car. He is well aware of what he has in the car, but he is not expecting to blow it up at that point of time. Somebody else presses the button for him, and he gets killed, or he is sitting in the car and presses the button himself, or as General Mathur mentions, it's a timed explosive. It was going to go off at 7 p.m., 6:58 p.m. That's when rush hour traffic is maximum. The location, the timing is all indicating that this was where they intended to be. Perhaps they intended to be, as Brigadier Dhiman pointed out, slightly further. This traffic is unpredictable in this area. So, perhaps they intended to be closer to the metro station or closer to one of the temples. But regardless, wherever you would have been at this point of time, it would have been equally crowded. In fact, it is the surrounding vehicles, of which 22 vehicles have been destroyed or damaged. That was the ferocity of the blast. 22 vehicles destroyed or damaged, including rickshaws, mobikes, a scooty and several cars that we have seen. 6 unidentified bodies. Within the car, only human remains have been found. Chunks is the only way I can put it. Now, they have been conducting forensic examinations since morning. There are blood stains, body parts, parts of the wreckage that have been recovered. Have a look. Here's another car bearing what seems to be a Chandigarh license plate. You can clearly see parked on the side of the road. The car is in. Its windows are smashed. Its roof has caved in. How many cars were demolished? Let me get Group Captain Devnath into this. Group Captain Devnath, so now, I'm still expecting that press conference. I'm suspecting that press conference will come our way once the loose ends have been tied up. Once they're absolutely sure what has happened. But I think at this point of time, we are pretty safe to conclude that this was all linked to the man who was arrested from Saharanpur, who led to the bust in Faridabad. This man who hailed from Pulwama, Tariq in Pulwama, who bought the car especially because I'm assuming it had a Gurugram license plate, then gave it to Muhammad Umar. Muhammad Umar brings the car to Delhi, then either gets blown up or blows himself up. It seems that it's all interconnected, sir.
There is no doubt that now slowly all the links are falling in their place. Did Muhammad Umar himself blow up the car, or was the car blown up remotely? Will be a very, very key factor in deciding further links up the chain. Aim is to find out the mastermind behind this entire conspiracy. And is the conspiracy linked to JNK and then beyond the borders? Home Ministry is working very closely. FSL report, whatever has come till now, says that this was a rather unconventional IED, in the sense no timer, no wire, no nails, no sharpeners have been found. So this was just a large heap of ammonium nitrate which was detonated. This kind of a blast always generates huge amount of pressure, and the death is mostly due to pressure wave. The bodies, the postmortem is on. All the 8 bodies which are there, they show almost negligible shrapnel injury. Normally, the trademark, the hallmark of all these blasts have been that the core of the bomb, which contains say ammonia nitrate, will be surrounded by nut, bolts, washers, nails, pins, so that huge amount of damage is caused to the human body and to other structures by shrapnel injury. So this shows that person who made this bomb made it in a hurry, was trying to move it in a hurry, and did not have adequate time to give the outer core the necessary ingredient, that is
not difficult to do. Once you got the bomb, as you mentioned,
bolts.
you just need to put a plastic bag literally with anything, ball bearings, you mentioned nails, screws, anything you can find. So the hurry was so much, in fact, that they couldn't even take a trip to the hardware store. That much of a rush. Okay. And that can only preclude that they knew the net was closing. More breaking developments coming on your screens as bit by bit information comes our way. We are now being told by our sources that this I-20 car, Gurugram registration plate, on September 20th had a challan issued in Faridabad. So that Group Captain Devnath completes the chain. The car goes from Gurugram, owned by Salman, ends up in the custody of a Tariq in Pulwama. It is handed over to a Muhammad Umar in Pulwama. This car is then in Faridabad on September 20th, just a month and a half ago, in the pretty much in the same area where the bomb factory has been discovered. So I think that sort of completes the linkage we were just discussing, sir.
Oh yes, this chain is finally unraveling itself. Tariq is being questioned. Dr. Umar is no more. Most important is now another person with the name Amir Rashid Mir. He has been held in Pulwama. He is being interrogated. Aim right now is to find out the further plan, if any. If this car has blown up today, yes, last evening, it is not end of the story. A huge amount of explosive was found at Faridabad, say 360 kg, and most of the material found in Faridabad belong to same explosive category, that is ammonium nitrate. This car probably had about 10 to 20 kg of this explosive. So where is the remaining 300 kg of that ammonia nitrate which was being planned to be used? Probably they had some other hideouts.
Yeah, so clearly,
also.
clearly,
Probably
this
we
was
have
as
another.
previous history, serial blasts were being planned. We are being told, at least I am being told, potentially that this was not just Delhi. Serial blasts were being planned in multiple locations in North India. These include sensitive places like Ayodhya, Mathura, Lucknow, in Delhi. There is a risk in the interrogation that they were even looking at Kolkata and Bombay. So they were looking at multiple explosions. If you're doing the mathematics, 20, 30 bombs were being constructed there. But the puzzle pieces are being closed. General Kochar joining us this morning. General Kochar, now we have I think we have pretty much clarity pending a press conference with the police that a man in Anantnag who is a JEM operative is putting up posters for the JEM. He gets caught on CCTV. That's where their blunder happened, the terrorist blunder happened. That's the slip. That he gets caught on CCTV putting up these posters. He then runs, ends up in Saharanpur in UP, where the police managed to apprehend him. In the interrogation, he breaks. He informs the police about this bomb factory in Faridabad. The police reach Faridabad just a few hours later after this arrest. Simultaneously, raids are going on in Anantnag in the government medical college where they recover AK-47s. Here they recover 300 or 400 kilograms of ammonium nitrate, AK-47s and other assault rifles. This car, which was owned by a Salman in Gurugram bearing an HR26 plate, I can only imagine that it was procured for the specific purpose of its license plate registration. That it would have been seemed familiar to people in NCR, HR26. There is no reason I can possibly think that a man in Pulwama would be wanting to procure cars from Delhi. You generally buy cars from your local area because you have to otherwise get them re-registered in your native state. The chain of registration of this car was deliberately kept obtuse. The names and numbers were never changed. And this car shows up because we now have a challan in Faridabad on September 20th. In the same Faridabad where the bomb factory is, this car is traveling from Pulwama, goes to Faridabad where it is spotted in September, and then this car blows itself up. This is pretty much the same gang, and if we were to allude that they knew the game was up because the terror factory and the masterminds were all nabbed, and they have potentially gone with what they had in a car. This is what it seems to be at this point of time, sir.
Thank you, Rishabh. My your assessment is slightly putting a perspective. The first perspective is that attempt has been made by these terrorists to show it as a CNG blast, so that attributability to a terrorist attack is ruled out, as I heard Group Captain Devnath, and also the investigation report so far suggests. no remnants of a classical IED. That is, we are not finding any shrapnel injuries and things like that. So, what has happened is the CNG vehicle has been selected for this purpose. The aim was to carry out a blast through an explosive kept in the dicky of this vehicle, which in turn carries out a sympathetic detonation of the CNG, because CNG is actually adding up
Yeah,
to
it's
the
a 3000 psi tank. Yeah.
yes, so it is actually adding up to this theory. I've been trying to think over these sequence of events, that why a CNG vehicle was, and just imagine this vehicle was parked in the Red Fort parking area for over 2.5 hours. Then it actually moves out, and slowly it comes near the metro station, where it is presumably you will find a large crowd. And the peculiarity of the CNG blast is that there is a shock effect. Whenever a CNG blast is there, it will actually produce, shock waves, and which can be fatal to anybody within a radius of 10 to 15 meters. And then what happens is that because of the heat pressure of the waves, and because of the heat, the injuries subsequently are due to burning. And and also remember, around 6 to 8 vehicles have also been gutted. They have also added up to the blast effect.